Part 21, the Voodoo Doll Spells Decree, Chapter 11. So let's begin writing the decree. Get your paper and your pen, and we'll start writing. So make sure you're in a quiet, uninterrupted space, and that you have a few pieces of blank paper, because sometimes we only want to write one, but some people's handwriting is so big, we might need more. So just have them handy. And have your pot in your kitchen, and you can use your pot again. It doesn't destroy the pot energetically because we're sealing the ashes with salt and we're flushing them down the toilet, and then you just wash your pot and then you can use it again. Okay. Have a few matches or a fire starter or a candle even you can use to burn the paper. Good. Let's see. Have your sea salt ready. And a journal to write down your process, just some thoughts as not big, whatever, just to write down your thoughts. Good. Okay, the decree is an energetic severance. This is energy work. And we're wanting a completion for contracts, cords, vows, agreements, and that they're dissolved, that are not for our highest and greatest good, which also then would be that they're also for the other person's not for their highest and greatest good. So we're not just releasing with love and light, that's bypassing. We want a complete severance so that we're not looping constantly in recursion. Okay, so what you're declaring is loyalty is sacred, but not with those that violate it. There's no spiritual bypassing. So no love and light. Interference is serious, and we're naming it out loud and we're revoking it. And there's no forgiveness, not the toxic kind that re-engages you with their frequency, but true forgiveness where you set yourself free, which of course then sets the others free. And zero energy leaks. I used to think, well, that's okay. I have lots of energy until I can't get out of bed, right? The energy siphoning doesn't do anything for the other person except drains you. So we think that we're helping, but we're actually draining ourselves. And it's actually takes a lot of work to reclaim that energy. So zero access to your energy, not because of blood, not because of shared incarnations, not because they're an ex, not because for any reason. Nobody should be siphoning your energy. We are all have our own built-in energy connection to source. And then just affirming, I want to be free today. I want the easy way. I want my natural state of being. So why would you want to do this? It's because energy cords feel gross, yucky, sticky, slimy. Something's on me, something's around me, something's bothering me, something's agitating me. They manipulate your thoughts and emotions. And karma loops keep you into do-over repetitions. And, of course, empaths are perfectionistic. They want to do it right. They're here in service of source, but the spells keep you bound. Okay, so just know that we're putting our foot down. So have something to drink, and then we'll start writing. Good job. Okay. So write I, like I am, I, and then your full name, your birth date, your place of birth, and your birth time if you know it. I don't know mine exactly, so I do like a little approximation symbol. And the town, the city, town, and the state, province, and country that you were born in. and then in full source sovereignty and with the witnessed authority. In full source sovereignty. Sovereignty is SOVEREIGNTY. Spelling doesn't matter. I know that there will be people, that speak. I had one client and he speaks 6 languages fluently. That means writing and speaking. And we just want to get the words clear, but the spelling doesn't matter. And with the witness authority of only source aligned. And now we're going to list the team. So I just put the team of only source aligned. And then we're going to name the ones that have come forward to you that have resonated in terms of guides. But really, it could just be your higher self. And then the word that resonates for you, the infinite self, the divine self, the true self, or the deep I, Eckhart's word. So Muji's words and Eckhart's words. And then it could just be higher self and source aligned. So higher self only source aligned and source. And there were different guides that came forward for this decree that I have not worked with before, but they came forward and I verified and checked. And Durga, Durga, from the Hindu expression. So Durga, the divine mother, only source aligned. So you don't have to write this down, but I'll tell you who came forward. So what you want to have on your piece of paper is where it says team of only source aligned, and then name your guides. And then name your guide. So this would be one guide that came forward, and her name is Durga, Durga. So Durga is the divine mother, only source aligned, as an ancient wisdom of inner victory. So it's beautiful that she came forward for this. So Durga is the awakened consciousness within. She has laser focus. And Durga is an important deity in Hinduism. Durga is clarity, compassion, strength, and wisdom. And Durga doesn't merely destroy the demon, but she transforms the darkness through awareness and courage. And Durga affirms the real victory is inner freedom. So if you feel called, you can write Durga, Durga, of only source aligned. And in this decree, the sneaky snake, the ego came forward as Mahishasura. Mahishasura. Mahishasura is the ego that changes form to avoid being seen. Right? So same with the installations that are not source aligned. They very sneaky, want to be hidden. And the ego feeds on fear, like the dark triad. They feed on fear, anger, greed, attachments. But this decree, we're naming them, revoking them, and sending them to source. So it was interesting. This is a very sneaky part of the ego that came forward, that came with Durga to illuminate. So if you've been feeling like there's been something holding you back that's very sneaky, yes. So it's spelled Mahishasura. And Muji talks about this. I call it the sneaky snake. I do some clearing there because it activates the pain body, because it is sneaky. So I just needed to do some clearing there. The other guide that came forward, only source aligned, is as soon as Durga came in, Shiva came in as the divine masculine. right? Holding the space, protecting. Like the divine masculine holds. So I always see the divine masculine with my hand down and the divine feminine with the hand up. So we're receiving and anchoring and protecting. So Shiva, SHIV, only source aligned, the divine masculine holder of the space, another Hindu deity, and he is the destroyer. So we need him. So he came forward to destroy the voodoo doll spells in all dimensions, space, and time. So Shiva is holding the space, and Shiva holds the golden light with source. So that's what came through. So I'm going to name some names that I have put in my decrees that are only source aligned, that resonate with me, and then you can decide if they resonate for you, okay? But really, you just need your higher self only source aligned. But guides are if they are there and they are in service and we have checked, then it's beautiful because you can really see there is a big, beautiful team that steps forward for us. And Durga and Shiva step forward for this decree. I've never worked with them. They've never, and I haven't been conscious of it. So it was really beautiful. And they're very powerful. Like I really loved the energy. Like the Divine Mother was nurturing, but she was like had a firmness to her. And then Shiva came in right away as the protector. Right? So they travel in pairs. We're always told everything is solo. The divine masculine and the divine feminine travel in pairs. Doesn't mean that Durga and Shiva are divine counterparts, but they are the divine masculine and the divine feminine. And for this mission, they travel together, right? So this is energy work. So you can write God, only source aligned, because Earth has kind of hijacked the name God. Source, divine presence, that's Eckhart's word. Presence, Presence. Christ Sophia, another pairing of the divine masculine, divine feminine, our inner Christ, and then Sophia bringing in the divine feminine and Christ consciousness. They're both there to anchor our own inner Christ consciousness. And then I always say Holy Mother, Holy Father, Holy Child, angels and archangels of only source aligned. And the Seraphim Collective. So I always say they're all only source aligned and at the very top. So only source aligned, and then I name them. So Yeshua has stepped forward. Muji is one of my teachers. Eckhart Tolle is another one of my teachers. Buddha, Ganesha. But just Kuan Yin, Miriam, Mother Mary, the whales, trees, dolphins, whoever you feel has helped you and has really helped anchor your frequency and your source consciousness connection. And you'll know the names. So those are just a few. And then we seal this decree in source's name. So now we're finished with the guides and writing the guides, only source aligned, and then write, I hereby declare, issue, and ask for only source justice and only source mercy for the voodoo doll spells decree, internally and externally, in all dimensions, space, and time, under the law of grace, under the law of one. All else are expelled from my body and field, period. So intention really matters because we need to have clarity and conviction because Earth is free will. And I revoke all listed. Okay, so this is the list. I revoke, R-E-V-O-K-E, and I put like a colon or an equals. So these are all the things that you're revoking in this decree. I revoke voodoo doll spells, and I put this in capital letters. I revoke all voodoo doll spells in my name in all dimensions, space, and time. So voodoo is V-O-O-D-O-O. Doll is D-O-L-L, and then spells is S-P-E-L-L-S. And then voodoo dolls, I just put separately, voodoo dolls, and then comma, spells, comma, traps. And then I named the defixio, the Roman binding curse. So defixio, D-E-F-I-X-I-O, the Roman binding curse, Roman, R-O-M-A-N, and binding, B-I-N-D-I-N-G, and then curse is C-U-R-S-E, comma, pride, comma, livestock, comma, greed, comma, corruption, comma, distortion, manipulation, theft, DNA code convolution, C-O-N-V-O-L-U-T-I-O-N. And then I just put a comma between all the words. Installations, contracts, chords, and just write them down if they resonate for you. If they don't resonate, you don't have to write them in your decree. These are just suggestions, but the beginning ones, the voodoo doll spells in my name in all dimensions, space, and time at the very top, that's important to write in. So voodoo dolls, spells, traps, and then defixio, the Roman binding curse. And then these are all optional, or you can write them all down. So these are the ones that have come up in sessions, and I've seen them come up with many people. And so then I basically compile a list, and then the list keeps increasing. So voodoo doll spells, traps, defixio, the Roman binding curse, pride, livestock, greed, corruption, distortion, manipulation, theft, DNA code convolution, installations, contracts, chords. You're doing really well. These can trigger the pain body, the poor body. Contracts, chords, vows, because it's like a lightning, like a flashlight lighting up on the body and then noticing where this is being held in the body. You know, these words are like ping, 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 like in a ping pong, that game that it's like an old arcade kind of game. It used to be like a physical thing where you'd pull it and then this stainless steel ball would like get released and then ping through this game. It was like a stand-up kind of, you'd stand there, pinball, I think it's called. Okay. Let's see, DNA code convolution, installations. Installations would be very important to put down. Contracts, again, important. Chords, vows, karmic agreements, soul ties, energetic connections, energetic, and this is a strong word, but just choose your discernment if you want to use this word, but energetic rape, sexual interference, because those voodoo doll pins were going through the sexual organs. So energetic rape, sexual interference, energetic siphoning, off-planet siphoning, so 4D interfering with 3D, off-planet siphoning, manipulation, emotional manipulation, trauma bonds, thievery of money, property, and autonomy. So these defixio Roman binding curses were also about money and property. Access, interference, false contracts, overlays, physical contact. Good. Energetic contact, siphoning, desperation, covert control, unworthiness, fear, fear-mongering, voice, body, expression, voice, body, expression, power, imposters, negative entities, injustice, manipulation, attempt of possession of the womb, like some of the rods were through the womb as well. Siphoning energy, power dynamics, instilling fear, traps, mental traps, womb traps, WOMB, womb traps, womb installations, reversals, mutations, clones, black hole systems, Stockholm syndrome, which was basically when you start seeing through your captor's eyes instead of your own eyes. So that happens in the dark triad relationships. Like with a narcissist, you start seeing your life through their eyes instead of through your own eyes. So Stockholm syndrome. Trauma bond. Bond is BOND. Intrusion, irritation, destabilization, triggers, the ego, loosh, feeding system, LOOSH, chaos, destruction, code convolutions, so light codes that are malfunctioning or mutating. That would be like a Metatron, so Metatronic distortions. So you can write loosh feeding systems if you choose. Loosh feeding systems, chaos, destruction, code convolutions. It's all the stuff that happens in 3D. Metatronic distortions, MEDTRONIC, Metatronic distortions. False frequency music, black hole systems, mutations, inversions, reversals. And this came up in a client session, and there was a lot of resistance to not write this in the decree, but black spider, astral spiders, and parasites. And then another one is called the Archon corruption parasite. Corruption, CORRUPTION. The Archon corruption parasite. And then the sneaky snake that came forward as the ego, the sneaky ego that changes in order to avoid being seen, but we want to see that in this decree. So you can add Mahishasura, Mahishasura. Like the installations don't want to be seen, but they're not source aligned. They're not meant to be in your field. And then I'm not sure if I should reread it but I think I will because it's so important. So I revoke all, and then I put a colon. Voodoo doll spells in my name in all dimensions, space, and time. Voodoo dolls, spells, traps. Defixio, the Roman binding curse. Pride, livestock, greed, corruption, distortion, manipulation, theft, DNA code convolution, installations, contracts, cords, vows, karmic agreements, soul ties, energetic connections, energetic rape, sexual interference, energetic siphoning, off-planet siphoning, manipulations, emotional manipulations, trauma bonds, thievery of money, property, autonomy, access, interference, false contracts, overlays, physical contact, energetic contact, siphoning, desperation, covert control, unworthiness, fear, fear mongering, voice, body, expression, power, imposters, negative entities, injustice, manipulation, attempt of possession of the womb, siphoning energy, family relationships, false white light, love bypassing, guides, psychics, power dynamics, instilling fear, traps, mental traps, womb traps, womb traps, TRAPS, womb installations, reversals, mutations, clones, black hole systems, Stockholm syndrome, trauma bond, intrusion, irritation, destabilization, triggers, the ego, Loosh feeding system, LOOSH, chaos, destruction, code, convolutions, Metatronic distortions, MEDTRONIC, distortions, false frequency music, black hole systems, mutations, inversions, reversals, black spider, astral spiders, parasites. Archon corruption parasite, ACHON, corruption parasite. Mahishasura, MAHISHASURA. And then you're going to write, I revoke all permission, comma, inferred permission in all time, space, dimensions to use my energy and access my energy, draw from my field, remain in any of my timelines. So I see past lives as timelines. So to remain in any of my timelines, so everything is in the now. Hold any claim on my body, energy, money, identity, resources, property, shame, inheritance. I withdraw my attention, my energy, my belief from the blind 3 to 4D rulers, RULERS. I choose only source aligned, ALIGNED. And then if there's anything else you want to add it here. And then have a drink. That's a big list. If you don't need a drink after that list, you're doing really well. Notice how the body is doing. Release with the body. Release, release, release. And then continuing writing. They have zero, Z-E-R-O. In Canada, we say Z. In America, they say Z. They have zero claim on me. And then continuing with writing, I declare injustice that is relevant to me. And it's important that it's relevant to you, because that's what it means to be a way shower. You know, when we share our experiences, our awakening experiences, that is being a way shower. It is more powerful when it's happened to you. I declare injustice that is relevant to me. And I do not consent to voodoo doll spells, thefts, possessions, relationships, attempted soul possessions, humiliations, gossip, lies in my name, in any dimension, space, or time. Period. I do not give consent. And inferred consent is not consent. Inferred is INFERRED. So I'll just go back up. I withdraw my attention, my energy, my belief from the blind 3 to 40 rulers. I choose only source aligned. And then you're going to add anything that you want to add. Any words that resonate for you that I didn't think of them. And then continuing writing, they have zero claim on me. I declare injustice that is relevant to me. I do not consent to voodoo doll spells, thefts, possessions, relationships, attempted soul possessions, humiliations, gossip, lies in my name, in all dimensions, space, and time. Good. It's so big. I do not give consent, and inferred consent is not consent. And then continuing writing, I do not give consent to these kinds of experiences, installations, and interference. Really putting our foot down, because they're always sneaky. They're like, well, 2000 years ago, one woman consented. And so then they just said, well, then everybody consented, right? That is how manipulative they are with consent. So continuing writing, I declare injustice and I demand the balance of this and reciprocity for this injustice. I revoke all and send all to source. And so now we're going to name the people, the systems, the interference that is personal to you. So I write at the very top, like I sever in capital letters and a colon or an equal sign. And then you're going to name all the people until you feel complete. And so when I asked, like, who do I need to sever? Right away, names popped up of people that I've known throughout my life. And so then they would go on the decree. So they might be family, friends, relatives, relationships. Maybe you're remembering other timelines. Maybe you have some what you call past life memories that have come forward that you want to add to this decree. But I always add the archons, ARCONS, the 3D blind rulers, the dark triad. Triad is TRIAD, the psychopath, sociopath, narcissist. I just call them that, or you can write out psychopath, sociopath, narcissist. I name the Draco reptilians. And when one client, when she named the Draco reptilians, she heard them say, "Oh shit." Like that's what they said. Like that's what she heard. So, she's a seer. So she's hearing, her senses are fully on. And she was incarnated 7D, so she's very aware. The reptilians, the Anunnaki, Annunaki. I know other people spell it differently, but that's how I've been told. It's the Anunnaki. And the Anunnaki are so arrogant, they don't want to admit that they're caught, and that's why they portal jump and they control through tech. Like they're so arrogant, like so arrogant. They'll never admit to anything that they've done wrong, and they only want to figure out how to get out of things. So they're very sneaky, very typical dark triad. And we can definitely see, the narcissists are like, made just like them. So I named the insectoids, insectoids, because they can interfere all the way up to 7D, and they have in client sessions. A particular one is called the prey mantis, Prey, and then mantis, Mantis. And of course, there is benevolent ones, so it's not all the insectoids, It's not all the prey mantis, right? Not all of them have fallen. They came from a high frequency of consciousness, a high dimension. And then I name Yaldabaoth because I found out that is the ruler of 3D. There's different rulers and they have like certain levels, but Yaldabaoth is kind of like the big, like, I don't know, the main one. Once you get through all the other lower ones, you end up with Yaldabaoth, and that's what I've been dealing with for the last year. So Yaldabaoth, Yaldabough. And they do not see that they're source. They really just see themselves. They really believe that they're God. And then who else came forward is Lucifer's collective army has come forward. I didn't even know it was called that, but that's what they call themselves. So Lucifer's collective army, they're about 300,000 that came from higher dimensions. And their main focus is on inversions, luxury, sex, money, fame, music distortions. So, and then another one, if you feel called, is called the fallen light or the fallen angels. And then I also named the 3D demiurge rulers, known and unknown, because maybe there's some that I don't even know yet. And then I name Mahishasura, Mahishasura, so the ego that changes form to avoid being seen. I definitely want them named. And then anybody that you can think of. And then if they're like a name of a person that's alive in this life now, you can put their first name or their full name actually, and then their year of birth. So all of the above with the emphasis for all chords installations. So so continuing to write about all of the above with emphasis for all chords, installations, mutations, reversals, inversions, spells, traps. Good. Are severed, dissolved, nullified, across, and I put a colon across, nullified, Nullified, I think. All timelines. So you don't have to write this, but past, present, future. And then all dimensions, just so we know what we're writing. All dimensions, 3D, 4D, 5D, and beyond. All incarnations, earth and elsewhere. So you can just write All of the above with the emphasis for all chords, installations, mutations, reversals, inversions, spells, traps are severed, dissolved, and nullified across all timelines, past, present, future, all dimensions, 3D, 4D, 5D, and beyond, all incarnations, earth and elsewhere. I reclaim my innocence. So a new one. So I put in capital letters like I reclaim my, and then colon or an equal sign. I reclaim my innocence, autonomy to choose for myself, my right to choose, source codes, 12-strand DNA and plus, source aligned angelic light codes, ascension codes, ascension, ASCENISON, inner child, love, unconditional love, compassion, peace, kindness, grace, security, safety, innocence, power, money, property, energy, free will, dignity, original eternal life lotus, source original Markaba, Markaba. So source original Markaba field, Markaba. And what that is your crystalline energy field surrounding your body from the Egyptian expression. My heart, all energy given, all time given, all innocence taken, all loyalty extended, all hope invested. My trust and vulnerability, my source appointed inner and outer divine guidance and pairing. Good. And then if there's other words that you want to reclaim, ask, is there more? And then what are those words? And then write them down. Right? Make it personal to you. Have something to drink. And then continue writing. I reclaim my complete and total freedom, adventure, healing in all dimensions, space, and time. Source mirroring source. 0 point. I was patient. I gave too many chances. I am complete. With my higher self, only source aligned, and source, I am requesting my highest timeline or path from source. Period. I then raise my vibration to my highest timeline of only source aligned. We're being really careful in how we're writing the decree. So updated in the records as named, if only source aligned, and then I put like a colon or an equal sign. The Akashic records, comma, the book of life. So the Akashic records are your soul's complete history across timelines. So that would be like mostly like your Earth timelines. I think of the Akashic records as your Earth timelines. And then the book of life is the records of all souls on their contracts. And then the book of tapestry, it's updated and protected by Anubis and Anput in the Egyptian tradition expression timeline. So it's all of source aligned. So you're writing updated in the records as named, if only source aligned, and then updated in the Akashic records, the book of life, the book of tapestry, and the cosmic records with Thoth. Thoth is Thoth, again in the Egyptian tradition expression timeline. And then continuing writing, this severance is final and irreversible, only source aligned. I reclaim this body is source, moving through the sovereign instrument of the embodied being on earth in a 3D body. I'll repeat that. This severance is final and irreversible, only source aligned. I reclaim this body is source, moving through the sovereign instrument of the embodied being on earth in a 3D body. I am complete. I am free. I am sovereign and only source aligned. This severance is permanent and final in source's name. Good. And then continuing on, you're doing great. I thank my higher self and my guides of only source aligned and source for witnessing, protecting this voodoo, VOODOO, voodoo doll spells decree. Thank you for your devotion, healing, help, love, support, patience, protection, and delivering this decree. I claim this voodoo doll spells decree in Source's name. Good. And so it is declared. So it is done. It is irreversible with only unconditional love in the name of grace under the law of one. It is sealed in Source's name. Good. Have something to drink. We are almost there. And this one client got a bribe to not say this. I am not of their realm, meaning I'm not part of the 3D material plane. I'm not of their realm. Realm is REALM. And this realm has no claim on what I am. and so be it. It is done. Claimed, period. Sovereign, period. Sovereign, Sovereigen. Yeah, we don't write these words very often. Claimed, sovereign, no vacancy. Signed in sovereignty, comma, and then your full name. And then today's full date. And your signature or your sigil if you have it. I have a sigil, looks like this. I don't know if you can see it, but it's like balancing emotional sovereignty and the balance of the divine masculine and feminine. All right, so now we're going to pause, have something to drink, okay? And you're going to read it out loud 3 times, and it's going to feel not easy. But persevere and read it out loud 3 times because your voice has like frequency and resonance, and our throat has been blocked. Depending on what kind of jobs we've been doing in multiple timelines. So as a light worker, you've had different roles in terms of like activating consciousness into dense systems like 3D Earth. And so our throat it has been closed, our third eye, and then it just goes on and on. What hasn't been closed? What hasn't been interfered with is more the question. So read it out loud. You might feel tired, feel the body sensations, memories might come up, but keep moving forward and you can read it quickly. But it needs to be read 3 times. We're wanting this one and done, right? That's why it's so thorough in terms of like what to write in the decree. And then we're going to fold it 3 times. So the first fold seals your identity. Okay, good. Seals your identity. The second fold seals your frequency. Good. And then the third fold, oh, did I say frequency? I can't remember. And then the third fold is sealing your frequency. So it's first fold, identity, sovereignty, frequency. And then a safe preparation. We're all adults, safe preparation for burning your decree. In the kitchen, I would turn on the exhaust and open a window. I have seen lots of smoke. Burn it safely in a pot because we want to collect the ashes. Like, don't put it in a fireplace because then that'll be mixed with other ashes. We want like to dispose the ashes. It's part of the decree. It's part of the thoroughness of the decree. And then we're going to salt the ashes, right? This is Antarctic sea salt. I felt we needed that today. That's the sea salt that called me. And then we're going to flush it down the toilet, the ashes, and then rinse if you're holding them with the tongs, rinse those in the pot as well. And then, because there can be some ashes on the tongs or the scissors or the fork, flush it a couple times, fill it up with water, and then flush it down the toilet. So I usually do 3 times. Always use your own discernment and your own intuition, your own gut instinct of like disposing. So good job. And definitely take a break after you've disposed it. Wash your hands, really important. Wash your hands, wash it all off. And this salt is sealing the ashes. And then they are they're being flushed down the toilet. So they're no longer in your field. Okay, good job. Good job. Really good job. Like everyone that has done this so far has felt amazing. This one is very thorough.